So when you talk to the politician, you look at the court system, you tell the politician, when a black man goes up for sentencing and a white man goes up for sentencing, the white man receives a lenient sentence with equivalent circumstances. So, Mr. Politician, what are you going to do? What policies are you going to put in place to remedy that discrepancy, such that every defendant is sentenced based on an equal platform? Mr. Politician, if you have a first offender and the crime is not violent, it did not involve bodily harm, what alternates to incarceration are you going to provide? If I got a 19-year-old kid, a 20-year-old kid, and I throw them in jail for 4 years, it's going to change your mentality. That kid may have been a petty criminal. Those 4 years in jail will turn him into a hard criminal. There's another black man lost to the system. Mr. Politician, can I give this kid community service? Can I give him probation? Can I give him something other than locking him up, such that I do not lose that kid to the system? Mr. Politician, this kid went in, did his 10 years, came out a felon. He can't get a job anywhere. Anywhere. What are you going to do to ensure that after a person has paid their debts to society, they could come back and be integrated back into society? Maybe eliminate this notion of background checks. Background checks hurt a lot of black men. Background checks is a reason a lot of black men can't get jobs. I understand. If you have someone that's going to manage money, handle money, yes, conduct a background check. If that person robbed a store or something of that nature, yeah, they might not be qualified for that job. But if that person did 4 years for possession of a certain amount of crack cocaine, how is that going to affect their ability to handle money? But yet that background check is going to come back with felony. And because of that, they can't get their job. So, Mr. Politician, can you eliminate background checks or restrict background checks such that these felons do not have to suffer for the rest of their fucking life? And then, you got a poor kid from the ghetto, caught up in some bullshit, first time offender. They go to court, they got a prosecutor, they got a public defender. And that public defender is stressed. Stressed. If they had a real lawyer, they could get a plea deal. And instead of getting a 5-year sentence, they'll probably get 1 year probation. But because they don't have a quality lawyer, because they don't have quality legal defense, they get railroaded. How many black men have been acquitted after 10 years, 5 years, 15 years incarceration? How many? So, Mr. Politician, what are you going to do to ensure the black defendants who lack the economic means to obtain a quality lawyer get a fair trial? Policing. Mr. Politician, What are you going to do to ensure that the Department of Justice enforces greater oversight on these police departments? To ensure that it is much harder for police to discriminate against a black man. To ensure that when a white man calls the police on a black man, it's not a matter of the police just taking that white man's story, but the policeman has to be impartial and take account of what the black man has to say. Mr. Politician, what are you going to do to provide citizenship oversight of the police? Establish a citizen commission so the police chief and the police department do not answer to the mayor, they answer to the citizen commission. And the citizen commission has authority to bring charges against a policeman, to investigate a report, a complaint against a policeman, to discipline a policeman. Mr. Politician, police unions have too much sway. What are you going to do to constrain the influence of police unions? And then finally, Mr. Politician, regardless of the circumstances, we would like to see every instance of police brutality, whether it results in a fatality or not. We as a black people would like to see nationwide every instance of police brutality brought to trial. We don't want to deal with grand juries. We don't want to deal with prosecutors making the decision. We don't want to deal with the mayors making the decision. If a policeman beats up a black man, if a policeman shoots a black man, we want to see each and every one of those instances brought to trial. So, Mr. Policeman, Mr. Politician, what are you going to do to ensure that every time there's an instance of police brutality, that policeman stands trial? Discrimination. A lot of times, black people are discriminated against. And a lot of times, black people just take it. I guess we're so used to it, we're just like, oh, well, ain't shit gonna change. Just take it. And so you have a lot of black people carrying this burden on their shoulders that they should not. What that does, it empowers white people to make them think, oh, I could get away with anything. And it makes black people think, oh, the system, I can't do shit. So, Mr. Politician, what channels are you going to make available for black people to easily report instances of discrimination? It could be in lending, it could be in policing, it could be in schooling, whatever. I could be walking down the street, minding my business, and a white man comes along and disrespects me. And I stand up to the white man. And the white man might call the owner of the business, he might call security, whatever, and the security, whatever, sees me as a guilty party, and the white man is an innocent party. That is discrimination. Give me a channel to file a complaint, and beyond that, take action on that complaint, because the day white people realize that any discriminatory act they impose against a black person shall be met with the full force of the law, they will stop discriminating against black people. So, Mr. Politician, what are you going to do to ensure that my voice is heard and action is taken? Mr. Politician, what are you going to do to eliminate discrimination in the financial industry? Whether it's getting an insurance policy, getting a car loan, getting a house loan, getting a business loan. What are you going to do? What policies are you going to put in place to eliminate that discrimination? And finally, Mr. Politician, what are you going to do to prevent companies from discriminating against black people in any manner whatsoever? Subtle discrimination, overt discrimination. What policies are you going to put in place to address that? It's been a long video. I had to talk about a lot of things. Because for too long, every election cycle, you see the same thing happening. Right now, black people are welded to Biden, the same man who supported discrimination in education in the 70s, the same man who stood staunchly against busing in line with racist Republicans. And yet black people are tied to him. We need to stop that. If we want the government to work for us, we need to do what white people do. White people tell these politicians what they want, and then they hold them accountable. The politicians don't come to the white people and tell them, well, this is what I'm going to do for you. Well, first they do that, but they do that after studying, researching, what are the needs of these people? How can we appeal to them? But with black people, they just hold a little fucking baby and kiss it in a black church, and they got your vote. And then you wonder why the government don't do fucking shit for you. Because you don't demand shit from the fucking government. So let this be the year. Let this be the election that these politicians realize that black people are not a bunch of dumb shit motherfuckers who crawled off some fucking plantation yesterday where they were picking cotton. Let these politicians realize that you got black doctors, black engineers, black lawyers, black accountants, black entrepreneurs. You got black intelligent people who have minds and can think. Let us go to these politicians with a platform. It don't have to be anything what I said. I don't care. Have a platform. If you know other black people who are going to vote, sit down and ask yourselves, what do we want from the government? What do we want from politicians? And lay it down precisely. Establish it. And conjure policies based on what you want. And then go to these politicians when they come to you asking your vote. Tell them, this is what I want. I don't give a fuck about if you come here tell me what you need. You don't know what I need. I know what I need. This is what I, as a black man, this is what I, as a black woman, this is what I, as a black entrepreneur, a black parent, a black teenager. This is what I want from the government. Now, can you give me this? And what guarantees do I have from you that you're going to give me this? And if you can't give me this, I don't give a fuck if you're Biden, if you're Sanders, if you're Warren, if you're whoever, if you're Obama, if you're Deval Patrick, if you're Cory Booker, if you're Kamala Harris, I don't give a fuck who you are. Do not take my vote for granted. If you want my vote, you give me what I need. If you can't give me what I need, I'm not voting for you. And if a goddamn Republican senator, if a goddamn Republican representative, if a goddamn Republican governor comes to you as a black man and says, I will give you this and I will guarantee you that I will give you this, then you vote for them. Don't be tied to some fucking Republican Party or Democratic Party. You vote for the person that will give you what you need to enable you and your children to succeed. Don't vote for someone based on some emotional shit. Because when you do, and you see the white people getting what they want, don't be mad. Because the white people make demands of these politicians. And the politician that will deliver for them is a politician they will vote for. Don't concern yourself with that, what these little shit-ass black leaders are out there talking, because these black leaders only give a fuck about themselves. They don't give a fuck about you, black man. Yeah, when it's time to march and protest, you'll see Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson out there in front. But what lives are they living? Al Sharpton got $1 million contract from MSNBC. Jesse Jackson's a millionaire. They don't feel your pain. They don't have kids, teenage kids that can't get summer jobs. They don't have to worry about child daycare. They don't have to worry about not getting promotions because they're black. They don't have to worry about not getting a house loan from a bank because they're black. No. They don't feel your pain, so they don't speak for you. You don't see some white man standing up saying, I'm the white leader, so this is what white people want. No. You see that one white person saying, this is what I want. This is what I want. This is what I want. And they go to the government as individuals expressing their requirements. If you black people want a government that is responsive to you and your needs, you need to do the same thing. When those politicians come into town, you tell them what you want. And you ask them if they can meet those requirements. And you ask them to give you a guarantee that they will meet those requirements. If they cannot do that, tell them, fuck you, I will vote for someone else. Let this be the election. The black people all over this nation. And I don't give a fuck if you're a conservative black person, if you're a liberal black person, if you're a middle of the road black person, if you're a poor black person, if you're a rich black person, I don't give a fuck. Let this be the election that these politicians realize they cannot and will no longer take the black vote for granted. If they want our vote, they give us what the fuck we want. Otherwise, fuck them. Because I'm going to tell you something. If all black Democratic voters stayed home on November 1st and did not go to the polls, Trump would win. The Republicans would win. The Republicans would take the House and retain the Senate. So if you thought the black vote wasn't shit, now you know. The black vote will be the decider in the 2020 election. Do not let any fucking politician take your vote for granted. Once again, thank you, God bless, and good night.